how are they gonna get to the school? They're gonna walk
Wow,
in
I feel like I hit a bass drum there. I'd like to welcome you this afternoon to the Municipal Advisory Committee meeting. First, we call to order and then Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So we have a slight change on the agenda for tonight, and before we ask for an approval of it, we'll go ahead and let you know that we're going to move public comments to 7, item number 7, and move the public safety reports up to 5, and the informational items from the Placer mosquito vector to item number 6. With that change to the agenda for the July 17th, 2024, I ask for a motion.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
I second.
All in favor? Aye. And then also to approve, I need a motion to approve the June 19th, 2024 minutes.
I make a motion to approve the minutes as written for the June 19th meeting.
And I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I also like to thank you for taking those minutes and the detail that you do get the gist of what the individual is saying. Pretty close to verbatim in a lot of things, so thank you very much. So we'll go ahead and move into the item number 5, which is public safety at this time. CAL FIRE, CHP, and the Sheriff's Department. All in one.
Just a little one. West Placer MAC, nice. Thank you for having me here tonight. This is the first time I've spoken in front of this MAC. I normally speak at the Granite Bay MAC, Horseshoe Bar MAC, Loomis, so I'm definitely down in the lower. My name is Jeff Bilodeau. I'm a deputy sheriff with the Placer County Sheriff's Office. It's nice to meet everybody. I've been doing this 26 years, so I come from another agency in the Bay Area. I've lateraled out here. I'm happy to be here, and I'm one of the public speakers for the Sheriff's Office and travel to MACs and do a variety of different jobs. Currently assigned to patrol. I'm the traffic enforcement car for the county, so I've definitely heard the request for more enforcement out in this region for sure. So that kind of covers me. I'm also pretty much involved in the community. I'm a head coach for Granite Bay High School for their mountain bike team, avid cyclist, and yeah, I have kids that are in the community and family, and I'm happy to be a Placer County resident. So I'll go over the stats first, then I have a little video for everybody, and then take any questions that you guys may have. Sound good? All right. So for the month of June, for the West Placer area, we had 165 incidents up here on each board, 165 incidents in total, 21 reports taken, and then 5 transient-related activities reported. This is at the end of the disposition of each call. When a deputy goes to a call for service, to close out the call for service, they have to enter a certain number of questions to answer, and this is how we collect stats. So suspicious activity on the right side column is going to be 21, disturbance calls 6, alarm calls a total of 9, and traffic stops a total of 39. work our way to the center section of the slide. Citizen calls versus deputy-initiated activity. So it looks like 95 to 70. Not quite an even split, which is pretty common for a lot of the different MAC regions. But still, citizens feel comfortable calling us, and the deputies definitely feel comfortable stopping people that need to be stopped. Priority calls for service, citizen calls. This is just broken down 1 through 9. It's when you call 911, the dispatcher has to take the information that you're providing to them and enter it into a priority level call, right? So someone's in your house, they've broken in, you need them right away, it goes to a priority level 1, right? If the cat's stuck in the tree out front, sorry for all you cat lovers, I could probably use another example there, but you know, that may not be the highest priority. So you can see the different call breakdown there for each one of those priority levels. It's in a pie graph. And then disposition, this just gives a top 10. This is a new person took over entering this data and kind of changed it up a bit. But I have the numbers on my sheet that I can scroll over. Contacted with no crime was 73. Probable cause 35. Unable to locate 13. Reports taken was 10. Assistance to other agencies. This could be for the fire department, CHP, Roseville Police Department. If we assist another agency, we take stats for that. And that was 9. False alarms, 8. And arrests, everyone wants to know about that. 8 arrests for the month of June in this region. I don't know what CP stands for, because this is new. They're using things that I'm not too familiar with. Sites 2 and canine assists were 1. So that is the stats for June. So if you guys have questions about that, I can either take them now or take them once I'm done.
Just, you mentioned this region. Are you talking about District 1 or
This
Placer
is
County?
West Placer Municipal Advisory Committee, like, so that they break
Okay.
it down into those regions by the stats.
Okay.
So
is this
Loomis would have their own, Granite Bay would have their own.
Right. So is this typical what you see or what you're presenting tonight throughout
Pretty typical.
the area that you're
Yep.
involved with?
I'm not seeing any total large spikes of numbers or any low numbers. This is a fairly average stat report, in my opinion. Yeah. Okay. So if no other questions, I'll move forward. The next video that I have, just to advise you guys, the sheriff's office is always hiring. We're always, we're never the case of, and I don't want to know CHP in the room, right? CHP has, obviously they just graduated a large class of cadets. Hopefully they'll be getting their staffing levels, but they are always struggling with these staffing levels. And so the good thing about the sheriff's office is that we do not never send a shift out without covering a beat. If it means holding someone over on overtime, calling someone in, a beat never goes unfilled with the sheriff's offices. So we are always hiring, and this is just a video of, it highlights our beautiful county. Happy to live in this county and have all these wonderful things, but this just gives it to you in a nice video presentation from the sheriff's office. And I just show this at the last few MACs that I attended just because it was a really well done video, but it also highlights our recruiting efforts for hiring and trying to entice people to come to our region and work, right? This is a destination agency rather than just, well, I work here because I live here. No, a lot of people move here, including myself, because of where we're at. And so here's just a little video to kind of highlight that. So hope you guys enjoy it.
Since 1851, the men and women of the Placer County Sheriff's Office have protected this community. I'm Placer County Sheriff Wayne Wu, and we enjoy the highest quality of life in the state of California because we only hire the best. Do you think you have what it takes to join our team? I challenge you to apply and find out.
This is Placer County.
Rising from the Central Valley to the Sierra foothills and Lake Tahoe.
It is an outdoors paradise.
With the highest quality of life of any county in California.
Proud and thriving communities.
And some of the top schools in the nation.
Since 1851, it has been the duty and the honor of the Placer County Sheriff's Office to protect this special place. It asks the best in us.
And the best service?
The best protection?
And the best place to work.
Is what we are focused every moment of every day on providing.
From our corrections facilities, to our dispatch and administrative centers, to our deputies out in the community.
We provide the training, more than 4 times what's required.
And the resources.
To make certain that we are ready.
Physically,
Mentally,
And tactically.
For every landscape,
Every condition.
every situation we may be asked to face.
So we will always be there for our neighbors.
our kids, and each other.
On the worst days and the best ones.
Because we are not just servants of this community.
We are part of it in every way.
We hold ourselves to the highest standards.
Because our community deserves it.
Our honor demands it.
And we will accept nothing less.
It's what makes us a family.
And helps us go home to our families.
In this community, this place,
Where we are so privileged to live and to serve.
There is nowhere else we would rather be.
All right, who's ready to get an application in, right? Yes.
Sorry, has some age limits.
I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for having me here tonight. It's nice seeing everyone out here. If there are any questions, I'd love to answer any.
Something was brought to my attention tonight.
Yes, sir.
About a complaint that's been registered. And is there a way to get in touch with someone? It's about some dogs harassing somebody's animals. So is there somebody that they can contact to get a hold of? Without giving a whole bunch of details that I
Sure,
really don't
sure.
know all of the details about.
2 avenues to travel. You can either call dispatch, non-emergency, have a deputy come out to that person's home, explain the circumstances, and the deputy can then give information for what they need if it's more details involved. If it's animal control related, we do have, Placer County does have a rather extensive animal control unit with everything from trapping skunks, which I have a problem with in my neighborhood. Yeah, they're horrible. So, and my dog's been sprayed plenty of times. So, from skunks all the way to, annoying dog barking calls. So either one of those routes, that individual can travel.
Okay. I think they've hit some dead-end roads on it, so.
Okay?
How do they escalate that then?
If a deputy is not giving them giving the situation enough attention, you can always then ask to speak with a supervisor. There is always 2 supervisors for the upper and the lower of the county each shift, so 3 shifts a day. So ask to speak with a supervisor and run it by them. They sometimes have a little more time and experience on the job and can sometimes think of other ways to solve problems, right? That's what this gray hair, 26 years worth of service can sometimes help you navigate those waters. When we do have younger deputies that work for us that need to learn the ways of solving problems sometimes more efficiently. So, anyways.
Keep it from escalating, basically, is what
Sure.
you're suggesting, yeah.
Yeah, of course, of course. If it's something that's like dangerous, like sometimes we have in rural parts of the county, like pets that attack livestock on other people's property, and we have to deal with those issues too, right? Totally different than like the regular neighborhood with fences and the dogs barking, right? Two totally different issues and two totally separate solving problems.
Sure, and we do appreciate your service out here.
Oh, thank you.
And I live on that end of the county, and we do get a good response, so we appreciate that.
That is excellent to hear. Excellent to hear. I know we strive on customer service, right? That's the beauty of working out here is being able to interact and connect with the community that, say, in the Bay Area, we weren't able to do that, right? That's something where I lived an hour and a half from the agency I worked in. Now I live and work, 5 minutes down the road. I drove here from my home today. It's a great thing because you're invested in the community, in my opinion. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Is it still legal to put down dogs that are?
Sorry, because we're using a new tech system, we need everybody on the record with the microphones. So let me run the microphone over there for you, Rick. Hang on.
That's okay.
No, we need you. We're recording it online, so for the record, we have to have everybody speak into the microphone. So I know you can speak loud, I'm sure. But.
Hello, Rick Friedman. Is it still legal to put down animals that are attacking livestock?
Yes, that's still a law that's on the books.
Okay, that's all. One question. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
So we received numbers from CHP, but they're not able to be here tonight. So I'm going to have Jeremy just kind of throw up their numbers on the screen just for a couple minutes or a minute or so, and we'll put that in.
Read those off?
Sure, I'll read
Thank
the slide. All right. CHP statistics.
Who are you?
What's
No,
that?
I'm
I'm sorry. Landon Wolf. Sorry, I'm Landon Wolf. I serve as Chief of Staff to Placer County Supervisor Bonnie Gore. I'm just relaying the information we received from the CHP about their month. So, one fatal for June, which was at Baseline and South Brewer. 11 fatals for the year. 134 crashes in Placer County for the month of June, down from
2 days ago at Coffee with a Cop in Granite Bay. Very nice man. I think there was a smooth transition between the last captain and this current captain. We have an excellent working relationship with the CHP. It's fantastic, better than it's ever been. And so with that, we partner with these enhanced enforcement projects in certain areas. If there is speeding going on, and I know there is, because I know a lot of you, believe me, I have 2 kids of my own. I know that it's, I think, one of the #1 things that we need to worry about, and was one of the driving forces behind getting the sheriff's office on board with this enhanced enforcement, and recruiting deputies within the agency that came from other agencies that were traffic enforcement officers, so I could have a pool of deputies that we could send out and do traffic enforcement. With that being said, please call it in and let us know the location. If we're not always familiar with where this is all taking place, and that was the thing that Granite Bay did. They were like, hey, these are the areas that we have problems, please enforce. And we went out to those areas, and lo and behold, boy, did we find a lot. It was a gold mine, right? So please call it in, let us know. Call our South Placer substation, and we will put it on our list of locations that we will assign out and say, hey, this area is getting a lot of complaint. We need you guys to go work this area on these days. Other than all the stats that I know that's the CHP stats for the entire county, but I think to be honest with you, your voices are being heard here, Granite Bay. It seems to be catching fire all over the county because we're getting a lot more complaints now. Like, hey, we're getting a lot more vehicle traffic and a lot more speeding going on, and we need help. And so we need to hear where that's at. And I appreciate this is a partnership, right? You guys are our eyes and ears for where you live and what's important to you. And so if you let us know, we can help. So, anyways, that's I've met the captain. He's a very nice man, and I think it'll be great transition, great move. So, anyways,
Great.
just adding that. Thank you.
That's nice.
Did you get anything from the local fire department?
The Station 100 update?
Quick update for Station 100. Just last week, the Board of Supervisors approved our annual contract with CHP for fire service. CAL FIRE, excuse me. With CAL FIRE. And in that agreement, we're increasing the staffing to 3 people regularly at that station, at Station 100. So they'll be in the process of hiring a new persons, but it'll be staffed at 3 people. So that's really good news. I wanted to let you all know that, and we'll let you know when that transition does indeed occur. That's it, right?
Did they mention that they're going to try and make it a paramedic?
The plan is to have paramedics. The challenge is we don't have enough paramedics out there. Yes.
Thank you. I just noted here that I did skip past item number 2, which is roll call. So since we are being taped, I just wanted to make sure that we introduce ourselves. So I'm Walter Wiley.
Deb McSherry.
Patrick Steyer.
Rick Birchloff.
Thank you. I do have a question in regard to the when the Highway Patrol came, and recently the sentence has been given to the individual who caused that problem at the dog park in Roseville. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about? And there was a person that was killed, and so if we could get a follow-up on that for the community. She had mentioned that was still under investigation, and now that it's been cleared, if we could get a follow-up on that. Are you familiar? You're familiar with what there was a
warrant served
at a dog park, and there was somebody killed, and innocent.
Municipal jurisdiction. It's the Eric April person.
Yes. What's
Just an update on it. The Highway Patrol actually, when they came in, they were very detailed about how they felt responsible and that they would get back to the community and give us a report back of where the failures were in regard to where that took place, the overtake of the individual.
not county council, but the judiciary council? There was a report written, right? That was public.
I don't actually know. So
Okay.
I think what we ought to do, Walt, is get back to you.
Yeah, that's what I was asking for.
There was an investigation. It was made public, I believe, and I believe, all of that information can be presented to you. To what extent it would be very long. I mean, obviously that was a very extensive investigation. There was multiple things that occurred during that whole event.
Yes.
I happened to be on vacation up in Canada at the time, and I wasn't here for it all, but yeah, I do remember that. So I think we might have to get back to you on that.
That'd be fine. Yeah, just brought that to mind as we were, because the sentence just came in from the courts to the individual was found guilty, so.
Okay.
In regard to that.
Yes.
But thanks. Yeah, if we can get back to that, thank you. there was also, well, we're going to deal with public comments, so we'll go on and move forward to our informational item, Placer County mosquito vector. Welcome back.
Well, thank you. I know it's been a while. Thank you
Yeah.
for having me. I'm glad to be here. I do have a lot of updates. I'm going to just lower this a little bit. I thought I was a little bit taller, but this should be fine. My name is Megan Lovato. I'm the Public Information Officer at the Placer Mosquito and Vector Control District. I come out to city councils and to the Board of Supervisors annually and give a presentation on just our district updates. I come out to Max every once in a while when it's requested, but we do have a lot of updates that are affecting West Placer, so I'm really happy I could be here tonight. I want to just go over, let's see. Oh, okay, this way, perfect. A little bit about our district since we have so much public in the room tonight. Our mission is to effectively and efficiently manage the risks from vectors and vector-borne disease in order to protect public health and quality of life in Placer County. Somewhere over here. We are a special district, so we're, oh my goodness. Okay, whoa, there we go, back a little bit. We are governed by California mosquito and vector control law. We do have a 7-member board of trustees that oversees all the work that we're doing. Each of them represent the different cities within the entire county, and then we have 1 representative of Placer County at large. We do have 25 full-time staff members, and we hire seasonal employees and interns to really help us through the summer months when we're busiest. I wish we had a fancy video like CHP to get people to apply for our jobs, but every summer we are hiring seasonal positions. So if you know someone that is interested, we just actually filled our last 2 openings, but it's a really great job for someone who is in either the biology side of things or is a really hard worker and wants to learn what we do to protect public health in Placer County. And we hire every single summer seasonal positions, both here in Placer County, both here in the Roseville area, but also up at our Truckee substation. Like I mentioned, we serve all of Placer County, so from the western side all the way up to the Lake Tahoe Basin area. So in West Placer, we're really dealing with mosquitoes and West Nile virus, which I'll talk about a little bit later. In Mid Placer, we're dealing with mosquitoes still, but also ticks and Lyme disease. And then in East Placer, we're dealing with yellow jackets, mosquitoes, and rodents. So we have a lot of different vectors that we deal with across the entire county, but here in West Placer, we're really dealing with mosquitoes and West Nile virus. And I'm sure some of you dealt with some grasshoppers this year, depending on where you live in the county. I'm not going to cover that today, but if you're interested in information on the grasshopper infestation that happened, we did partner with some agencies in the county to put out information about the grasshopper infestation that happened just a month or 2 ago. So a little bit more about what we do in the programs we have. We do vector and disease surveillance, chemical control, biological and physical control, like our mosquito fish program. We do community and school outreach, technology and innovation. We actually have a drone that does larvicide treatments now for us, which is really helpful. It makes treatments a lot safer for our staff, and we're able to access areas that we couldn't access really well with other traditional mosquito control methods. And then we do applied research projects, usually in the winter months. And that's really an effort to try to make everything we're doing more efficient and more effective for our community. This is a look at public service requests that we got from the community in June. So you'll see we're getting the most requests about mosquitoes, which is pretty normal for June. We also get a lot of standing water requests. I'll talk about mosquito fish in a second. That's the requests that we're getting for people to get mosquito fish for their ponds. Swimming pools, we ask the public to report green swimming pools. A lot of times you're telling on your neighbor, but we really appreciate it because swimming pools are an issue for public health in the county. A lot of dead bird reports, and then that other section, those are all the grasshopper reports we received. We do not cover grasshoppers, but we try to do everything we can to help inform with, mostly Roseville and Lincoln residents on what was going on with grasshoppers. But if you do have a public service request for everyone in the room, either with mosquito issues or standing water. It's all done through our website. If you go to placermosquito.org/report, it takes you directly to a form that you could submit to our district, and that's where these analytics are coming from. A little bit more about mosquito fish. On my way driving here, I passed a lot of ponds that I know we service with mosquito fish, but we do rear mosquito fish at our Roseville facility, and mosquito fish eat mosquito larvae off the tops of water ponds and water troughs for like horses or livestock that you have. And they're actually a really good agent for keeping mosquitoes from becoming adults on your property. So again, if you're looking to get mosquito fish for your ponds, you can report it through our website, placermosquito.org/report. So let's talk about West Nile virus. So we have 2 species of mosquitoes in Placer County that have the ability to transmit West Nile virus. I actually had a radio interview earlier today, and I had pregnancy brain and could not remember the second species. The first species is Culex tarsalis, and the second one is Culex pipiens. And as of earlier today, we have had 5 mosquito samples test positive for West Nile virus. So our first detection just came last week, and so a week later, we're up to 5 detections. All of those have been in the West Placer areas of the county, actually a little bit north of where we are now, and then also today we found a positive mosquito sample in Lincoln. So the past multiple years, our first detection has come in mid to late June in the West Park neighborhood. So it's a little bit different this year. We got our detection a few weeks later, and we're finding them a lot in the western agricultural areas this year. It's really important to note, we have over 30 species of mosquitoes in Placer County. 2 of them have the ability to spread West Nile virus, and those are female mosquitoes, because only female mosquitoes actually bite and take a blood meal. Male mosquitoes don't bite, and those are the mosquito species that can transmit West Nile virus to you. West Nile virus is a bird-driven disease, so you can see that graphic on the right-hand side shows you how it's transmitted, and there's no vaccine and there's no cure. There is only, for humans, there's only a vaccine for horses. Looking at statistics for California, and these are a little bit out of date since I sent Landon my presentation, but we're well over 84 dead birds in the state and 269 mosquito samples for the state. So those numbers keep rising, which is normal this time of year. Last year in Placer County, we did have 6 human cases, and we did have our first human death since 2018. So we saw record numbers last year. That's not necessarily what we're seeing this year. It's really important to continue to report dead birds. So if you find a dead bird, you want to call 1-877-WNV-BIRD or report the bird online, westnile.ca.gov. All of our birds get funneled through the state system, but one of our local district members will actually come out and collect the bird from you. Normally, birds are the first sign. Birds that test positive for West Nile virus are the first sign that West Nile virus is spreading in a community. For us this year, it was a mosquito sample. Okay, invasive Aedes, another species of mosquito that we're concerned with. So invasive Aedes are not native to California, but they do have the ability to transmit diseases like Zika, dengue, chikungunya, and yellow fever. However, those diseases are not circulating in Placer County right now. However, if someone were to travel outside of our county, really outside of the country, and come back with one of those diseases in Roseville or Rockland now, we now have the species of mosquito that can bite the person who is sick and then locally transmit that disease to somebody else in their community. It's very scary, especially because these mosquitoes are so hard to control, and they're hard to detect because they are tiny, but they also need tiny amounts of water to develop compared to other species of mosquitoes. Their eggs are smaller than a poppy seed. So again, very hard to see to the human eye. They're also really aggressive day biters, and so we were originally asking people for day biting mosquito reports, and we found that that isn't as effective because especially during the summer months, we have so many different mosquitoes active in the county. So just an update on our 2024 detections. We have been finding them nearby the West Placer MAC area. I'm going to go to the map, which will give you a better idea of what that looks like. So this is a map of Placer County, and those yellow boxes are highlighting the locations. The locations where we've detected invasive Aedes. So right there at baseline, not far from Cook-Riolo, is one of our latest detection sites. We first found them in Placer County in 2019, and pretty much every summer we're finding them in different areas of the county or repeat areas. So that Fields Manor neighborhood, kind of in the older Roseville area, that's been a site we've been detecting invasive Aedes mosquitoes in for multiple years. It's tough. We're trying to do what we can to limit their spread. We're making active treatments, and we're also doing enhanced surveillance to try to find these mosquitoes, treat them, and encourage residents to get rid of all standing water. No standing water on your property, because like I said, they are very hard to find and they're hard to treat. So a quick reminder of how to protect yourself from mosquito bites. You want to get rid of all of the standing water on your property, and this really applies for every species of mosquito. You want to use an EPA registered repellent. Not every mosquito repellent is the same. EPA registered ingredients include DEET, picaridin, IR3535, and oil of lemon eucalyptus. Some of the more natural products you see at the grocery store or at Target don't work and aren't effective at actually keeping mosquitoes from biting you and transmitting diseases. This really applies more in spring, not when it's 114 out, but you want to make sure the screens and doors on your windows and on doors are in good condition, because mosquitoes will come through if there's a hole or a tear in any of your screens. And then lastly, we are here as a resource to our community. So if you have questions, if you have an issue, if you have something of concern, we're here to answer questions and help you as much as we can. So always reach out to our district for questions and issues you might be dealing with. We're going to be at a few community events coming up, not me, but other people at my district. So we'll be at the West Park Amphibian Farm Neighborhood Association National Night Out. We'll also be at Hot Chili Cool Cars in Rockland, and then the Loomis Fruit and Shed Festival in October. So if you want to come out, talk to some of our staff, and get some answers question or pick up some fun mosquito swag, come to one of those events. Lastly, make sure you subscribe to our district news e-blasts. We send a monthly email with updates of what's going on with mosquitoes and ticks and yellow jackets in our county. Like I said, here in West Placer, we deal mostly with mosquitoes, so I focused a lot on mosquitoes in my presentation. But if you have questions about ticks or yellow jackets, we have a ton of information on our website, and we also send out, like I said, monthly updates. For treatment notifications, I know sometimes in the West Placer area, as you get closer to Alberta, we do sometimes send a plane for aerial adult treatments in the summer months. If you'd like to get notifications when we're treating, you can also sign up for our treatment updates. And then we also send invasive Aedes information, but for the most part, we're sending that out to everyone who's subscribed for district news on our website. So that's it for me. I'm open to taking questions.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that area where the creek is that comes through over by the railroad tracks, you're familiar with?
Somewhat.
You mentioned older Roseville type of area.
Yeah.
And it's on the east side of the railroad
Yep.
yard. Did I see that's highlighted there?
Yeah.
So that's a concerned area. So it hasn't grown out of that little triangle there?
It has. So those were just our detections for 2024. In 2023, and I want to say in 2022, in neighborhoods surrounding Fields Manor, I mean, they're technically called like Cherry Glen, Crest Haven, and Hillcrest. We found invasive Aedes all in those neighborhoods as well. We have traps throughout those areas right now that their goal is to collect invasive Aedes mosquitoes, and we haven't been finding any. So it's hard because they like to hide. And so we're doing what we can to try to find them and treat them as much as we can. So thank you for pulling up that map. So you'll see the yellow Fields Manor square basically to the right of that on the east side of the railroad tracks. There were a few neighborhoods in past years where we found them. As of today, that's the only location in Old Roseville where we found them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Quick question. You talked about yellow jackets.
Yes.
But there's a difference between yellow jacket and wasp.
Yes.
Do you have procedures to get rid of the wasps?
So our major concern is with yellow jackets. They look a lot like paper wasps. They both behave very differently. Yellow jackets have an aggressive behavior where paper wasps don't. A lot of times paper wasps will actually be in your eaves of your home, which is a structural issue which we don't take care of. Yellow jackets, on the other hand, a lot of times have their nests in the dirt, and that's something that we can treat effectively. Thank you. As for, keeping them out of your property and off your home, there's nothing really much that we recommend people do. At one point, I think our district was recommending trapping the queens, because once the queen yellow jacket comes out, there's a lot more yellow jackets, and there's some information on our website about that. Again, if you have a yellow jacket nest, you want to get rid of it because their stings are very powerful and can cause a lot of issues to especially those who have compromised immune systems. So you can request a yellow jacket treatment from our district at any point in time. But if they are paper wasps, we will not treat them.
I have paper wasps.
Okay. Any other questions?
I have one.
Yes.
Do I need to come up there? Okay, I'll come up there. Hello, Henry Reedman. Okay, you said the mosquito fish to go online and get them. Is there a place to go to get them?
Great question. Answer that. So, yes, the best way to get mosquito fish at your property for your pond or water trough is to submit a request through our website. We do not do mosquito fish pickups because they are technically a controlled substance. They are a predatory fish, so they can eat other stuff that might be in your pond, or if your pond's connected to some other waterway of the United States, they're technically controlled. So other districts that don't have, or other counties, I should say, that don't have districts like ours might do the mosquito pickup events, but for us, we try to really keep on top of where we're putting mosquito fish to not affect other animals, and yeah.
Just a horse trough.
Yeah, just a horse trough. We'll come out, take a look, make sure the mosquito fish will do good work in that trough, and we'll place them for you. Yeah, and once you're in our system, we're pretty proactive about coming out every year to make sure your mosquito fish either survive the winter, or if you have none left, we'll come out and give you some more.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Brett
Any other
Barnes.
public questions? Yes, come on up.
I saw you mention rodents, and I was surprised that you didn't talk much about rodents in West Roseville and on the west side of Fittymint and Woolurga.
Yeah.
There's been quite a lot of voles, and now they're coming across onto the east side, and Morgan Creek's just starting to get them. They're fast and furious.
Need your name for the record?
My name's Kanan.
Last name?
Abe.
Maher.
So, great question. We have gotten a lot of field mice reports from the western part of the county, especially areas with new development. We are receiving those reports. Unfortunately, I didn't talk much about rodents because the work we do with rodents have to do with community-wide disease infestation. So a lot of times that isn't an issue down here in the western part of the county. That's something we deal with in the Tahoe Basin area with reports of plague and hantavirus. So those aren't something that the field mice or the rodents we're seeing over here in the western part of the county have had and are spreading at this point in time. So a lot of times we're a partner to the California Department of Public Health just with hantavirus and plague issues up in the Tahoe Basin area. It's kind of tough. I mean, when there's new development, a lot of times a lot of the different animals that are natural to those areas where they're building come out. And we've gotten all sorts of reports of different species that we don't cover, but technically our district covers mosquitoes, yellow jackets, and ticks primarily, and we're a partner to CDPH with rodents. Okay. Any other questions? All right, thank you so much for having me. It was nice seeing you all.
Thank you. Now we'll go to item number 8 on the agenda. Reports continued. Sorry. Oh, yeah. Public comment. So the last meeting that we had, please try and keep your comments to 3 minutes. I don't like to be the bad guy, you know, but, and help your neighbors out too, to let them know that if you have a comment in regard to something, if you have a spokesperson, give the time to them as well. Just encouraging that. I catch a little bit of flack for going over that 3 minute. So we'll open it to public comments this time, please. State your name.
Hello, my name is Kanan Maher. I'll be quick. We did recently notice, and I say recently, it was today, several of us who live right around this neighborhood. I'm personally in Morgan Creek. Hello to a lot of Morgan Creek people that are here. We noticed that there was a sign that was unreadable, and when you trekked through the field, you could find the sign that said development proposal pending for Estia Dry Creek and Placer Creek Residential for 440 units on 88 acres that backs up against Morgan Creek. And we are a direct adjacent neighbor, but we weren't informed about it. And we had to actually walk through the fields to find the posted signs. You couldn't drive by and see it. You couldn't park and see it. You couldn't walk up to it and see it. You had to go through. There was areas that said no parking, and you couldn't leave your car there to go find these signs. So it felt I started asking my neighbors about it. Nobody knew about it. And talked through our entire neighborhood, which is 500 homes, and I haven't found anyone that's aware of it. And so seeing this, for those that know what Morgan Creek has been going through with our golf course, it made a lot of people very uncomfortable. The words that I was hearing were deceptive, devious, shady, trying to slip this by all of us, difficult. It's difficult intentionally so that no one will know that they're trying to develop right next to Morgan Creek. And at a time where trust in government is uneasy and getting eroded, this doesn't help. So I'm just bringing it up so that everybody is aware. I'm glad this is on record because it appears someone's trying to develop right next to us without notifying all of us that they're trying to develop so that we can't have a conversation about it. And we don't like that. That's all.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Daniel Boshkov, 9210 Eagle Springs Place in Morgan Creek. 41 years ago, I was lucky, in quotation, to escape from communist Bulgaria. And through an incredible journey, I was accepted as a refugee here in the United States. Describing the life in communist country is impossible with words. But I can give you an illustration. There is no area in your life where the fear that penetrates the bone marrow of your existence, it's hovering above you. And the reason I'm saying is this is because I have a wife, I have a 7-year-old girl, and we moved here 5 years ago. And it was a pristine, beautiful place. And we're very lucky to escape from the Sacramento ghetto. However, in 5 years only, I see such a dramatic changes that I can give you the most common denomination. The quality of our life has been destructed with all the developments inside of our community. We are fighting enormous war with the golf course owner, who is a very arrogant person. You're aware of his intentions to to build houses. My daughter goes to the school. And to be honest with you, I am puzzled why you allow this development on Cucuriolo and Vineyard. The dirt on the road, the noise, I mean, it's incredible. The kids are starting in August. This will continue, and on and on. In one word, we cannot fight in all the azimuths. My colleague just mentioned something very tricky, something hidden, some sign over there. And by the time we wake up, gone. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Oh, a picture.
My name is Susan Yomogida, Y-O-M-O-G-I-D-A. Nobody can spell it. Took my mother 10 years. First of all, I have a safety issue. I live on Oak Avenue. When you exit Oak Avenue to Baseline Road, there is a realtor's signpost that blocks the view when you're looking eastward. That needs to come down. Can someone in the county please get that post removed? The sign isn't there anymore, but there's the white post. It's a danger when we're pulling out. Okay, second, another safety thing, there were fires on Baseline Road. One burned down a house, one burned down a deserted house. We have nobody from fire to give us an update on, those fires. Third thing, thank you for your service, sir. I used to be a nurse at the jail up there in Auburn. I appreciate the deputies and the correctional officers, so thank you for your service. So local, I'll go quick. Creekview Ranch, Mill Creek Ranch, Winton Ranch, Double S Ranch, Estia Dry Creek, and Placer Creek Residential, which I too met our new neighbor and had to walk. I videotaped how long it took me to walk through the field to see the sign. That's approximately 2,000 to 3,000 new residences in Dry Creek community. Urban planners up in Auburn, excuse me, just a moment. Urban planners in Auburn are converting Dry Creek from a rural to a suburban residential. Is the end game to make Dry Creek a part of Roseville City? I encourage all my neighbors to get pigs. Their urine stinks like hell. Just make it miserable for everybody that lives here. Okay?
Oh, jeez.
Disregard Dry Creek Community Plan. Is that our plan here? We have one fire station. Thank you for the extra. We would really like to have a fire paramedic on duty. We have one fire substation. How many officers are on duty each shift? Our garbage is picked up from Auburn. They drive down here. We have wells that are being impacted. City of Roseville is already using our groundwater. Now we have more residences coming in. We have one K through 8th grade school. We have 2-lane roads. We have farm animals. Roseville City Parks, all our new residents need to be aware, we are not city. So when you go into Roseville City to use their parks, any of their programs, you register as a non-resident. Residents get precedence. Non-residents can be removed from any rosters if you have any school-age kids that do any of the parks things or anything else. All the new neighborhoods are going to have private parks. Increased traffic congestions, air quality, all throughout the Placer area. This has to stop. It has to stop. Oh. If you wanted to see what our neighborhood looked like before 1988, here's a lovely picture from my neighbor. It's an aerial view over my house. Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
Hello, Rick Reedman. I have a couple of questions about things that are occurring and where the threshold is. So when a developer applies to do a development, they use the gross acreage of the property. So if I buy 10 acres and can only build on 1 acre of it, do I get to put 30 houses on that acre? Where's the limit? The ranch they're trying to develop there's 120 acres so that are actually developable. The rest of them are going to be parks and this and that, but yet they get to say, well, we're only putting 2 houses per acre up because we have 220 acres, we're going to put up 440 houses. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. So if there's a threshold, I'd really like to know where it is. The development at the end of Vineyard that they were just speaking of, my understanding is the MAC worked really hard when they built Morgan Creek to make sure Vineyard did not go through. If they build that development down there and they put Vineyard through to Willarga, Vineyard is going to be a complete freeway. Another thing I'd like to talk about is the EIRs. So I'll give you an analogy, if you will. If I'm looking at a big aquarium and the whole thing is blacked out except this little corner right down here, and I look in that little corner and I don't see any fish, so we can dump some more fish in there. Well, but that little corner is dry creek. So we keep dumping more fish in and more fish in, more fish in. Pretty soon, all the fish are going to die because of the pollution they caused each other. That's what's happening to Dry Creek. No one's looking at the cumulative effect of all these developments. Well, Kirby Lane it's in District 1, Kirby Way or rather. You can't make it any wider. And during rush hours now, it's already backed up to Vineyard. So when we build several thousand more houses up here, how are we going to mitigate that? So are we going to give the government some money and we're going to say it's mitigated? Or are we actually going to try and solve that problem before we let more houses get built and built and built? You guys all remember what happened in Paradise. You keep building and you get gridlocked during an emergency and people are going to start dying. And that's all I have to say. Thank you. I said my name, but it's Rick Reedman.
Thank you. I didn't hear it.
He didn't say it.
I didn't think so.
Okay, my name is Brittany Tiago. I live also in Morgan Creek. My kids go to Creekview Ranch, and we've lived here for about 5 years. And I'm also going to talk about the new development, the Estia. I think that's how you say it. I just found out about that, and I try to rally up my neighbors because that field is literally right by my dining room table. And I'm looking out in the field, I see a little sign out there, and I'm like, what the heck is that? To drive, no parking sign, leave my kids in the car, walk up the hill, and then I see that sign. And I moved my family here, actually am a farmer's daughter. I moved here to this part because I love it here. There's animals, there's lots of space. Yes, I have skunks in my backyard, but that's fine. And I don't want it to go away. I look at that video that the sheriff put up there and I almost got emotional because I love it here. I think Placer County is amazing. And I also have the question, how much is enough? There's 2,000 homes going around here, if not more. Our school is already so compacted. Where are these kids gonna go? I don't know if this is the place to have my voice heard or if we can do anything to help it, but I just didn't feel right if I didn't come here and just get my voice heard. I am a firefighter's wife. I am home a lot with my kids, and I moved here also because of safety. I feel safe here being home alone with my kids, but just in June, in the matter of 6 days, we did have 2 incidences where I have inmates or fugitives running through the back of my house in the field, and that's scary. And looking at the reports of the crime and everything, yeah, maybe it doesn't look too bad now, but it's gonna look real bad. And after we get all these homes going up and all of the people. And I'm just wanting here to voice my opinion, and thank you for hearing me.
Hello, my name is Kelly Newstead, and I'm a resident. I live on White Mill Crescent Road, and I actually back up onto the field that everybody is concerned about with the Estia Dry Creek and Placer Creek sign. I will say that the sign went up about 3 weeks ago. I knew the day it went up. And I have been researching into the environmental impact. I have partnered with the Sierra Club, like to find out more information through the Sierra Club, some other bird sanctuary places and stuff, and I feel that when I moved in there 6 years ago into our home, we were told that the back was completely protected. Now, part of it is. And so I feel that the impact of this kind of construction they're suggesting, the building and all this, it's going to have substantial effect on what we are trying to preserve here. A lot of these builders and a lot of the people who own the land and stuff, they're not going to respond to us saying, well, we just don't like it, or that it's, you know, we just don't want it here. I think the way we can be smart about this is to look at the fact that this is an environmental issue and we have a lot of stuff there that we want to protect. And I think that that might be the way that we want to take a look at that. So anyways, I came here tonight just because I heard about this. This is the first time I've been to this meeting. And I am overjoyed that there's lots of people here who have the same vested interests that my family and I do. And I definitely want to be active in looking into this perspective that we want to not get this, we do not want to have this happen, particularly on this. And more than just not in my backyard, it's more of an environmental issue that we just want to preserve some of this land that we so much love here in Placer County. And yeah, so thank you very much for your time tonight. And I hope to connect with some people else who have the interest that they've said tonight as well. Thank you.
Just give your name. Go ahead.
My name is Stephanie Burnell. Okay. Hi, my name is Stephanie Burnell, and I too am here with some residents from Morgan Creek. I wanted to share a little bit of why my family moved to Roseville. I actually am a real estate agent, and when we first decided to move to this area, we were looking at Lincoln, we were looking at Loomis, we were looking at Granite Bay, Folsom, but we really decided on Roseville because, you know, the quality of life here, even in looking at all the multiple homes that we looked at in all up and down Placer, we felt that Roseville really embodied not only quality of life, but quality of environment. And so when I learned that Roseville has, you know, over 80 parks and trails, and I actually walk that trail with my son. There used to be a tire that was hung on this tree, and you can't describe the peace that I felt, and just like, oh my gosh, this is how everybody should experience living in this area. And to now walk there and see that the potential of that little piece of just serenity that we as people get to enjoy in this part of the city is going to be taken away is really saddening. I too came from a communist country, and I value peace. I value community. I value the neighborhood that has come together to show up and really preserve that, not only in Morgan Creek, but I do want to remind you that, you know, we are a community that loves each other. We are a community that wants to preserve that peace that we can have with our children just walking outside our door. We want other people to enjoy that as well. And we had, I think, maybe about 15 people here just within an hour of, you know, notifying each other through Nextdoor. And I think we all experienced the number of people that showed up to stop the development over there. So the buzz is getting around, and you know, we need to have our voices heard because we want to preserve this area. It's a beautiful area, and we don't want to end up like San Jose. You know, high density, no community, no neighborly. It's a stark difference when you have a sense of community and it includes the environment around where we live than people that live in San Jose, you know. And your video, the sheriff's video, I wish I was 15 years younger. I would totally sign up. But, you know, it really brought tears to my eyes because even the sheriff's video says that the quality of life and the surrounding environment that creates that quality quality of life is what we are tearing down. And it really saddens me.
Yes, very special.
Can I speak?
Yes. Just
Hi, my name's Harry White. I'm with the Sierra Club. The Sierra Club was mentioned, so I thought I'd stand up and introduce myself. I've lived in, hi. Yeah, nice to see you. Nice to see you. Yeah, my wife and I have lived in Roseville since 2010. It's a great place to live, Placer County. Gosh, I love looking at that picture. So we're all in this together, and we need to try to work something out that's best for us and best for the environment. So we, the Sierra Club and California Native Plant Society, are happy to talk with people, and we can work together on your concerns. Yeah, I think that's it for now. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, before you start any time, okay, I have actually written documentation here for you, okay, because, I want you guys to have plenty of stuff here, and I've actually, awesome, you guys are awesome, thank you for taking your time and everything that you guys take to do this, but you know what, I was reading over the general plan, and it's 1,176 freaking pages, or whatever, and so I thought I'd give you a synopsis of some of the things or whatever. Here is the actual objectives or whatever of the general plan. And then, yeah, this way you don't have to use it as extensive notes. Anyway, we're good. Okay, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Laura Bullard, and I have at the very top of this, in the Placer County General Plan, again, it's 1,176 pages, a little tough to go through or whatever, but the program objectives include that new growth must pay its own way and make other positive contributions which will protect the lifestyle of Placer residents, and also that they are to protect agricultural lands, and also to plan to accommodate the county's share of the statewide growth. In case you guys didn't know, since 2010 to 2022, Placer County grew at a rate of 17.4. The state of California only grew at 4.66. So I'm thinking we're way ahead, and we should just stop it all. And no new growth. But one of the things with the general plan, if you go over these things here that I've highlighted, and I'm not going to go over all of them, they keep mentioning that it needs to be compatible use, that it also needs to preserve large parcel size, and that it needs to be part of the community plan. And one of the things that we need to do is to retake, the MAC needs to retake the effort to say, hey, you know what, we have a community plan. We want to maintain our community. Knock it off up there, Placer County, and look at our community plan. One of the things that I'm going to flip, I have some questions here in red for y'all, but the deal is, it says ag, land use, and protection. Dry Creek Community has a community plan which has been in effect since the general plan, and it has 16 years to go. It calls for 2-acre minimums. 1 acre, by the way, is 43,560 square feet. Somewhere we got away from our 2-acre minimum. I'm not sure what happened there, okay? And we've been letting developers overtake this whole process. And it started with you people at Morgan Creek. It wasn't you, okay? It was your little developer person. Because the deal was that the idea was the 2 acres, and there used to be a sign Mr. Riolo had out there. It said that this is available, and it was 2-acre minimums. But the idea of the 2 acres was that, we're going to let you, they all own part of the golf course. But you all know what happened to that. Now they're going, oh, screw that, okay? Now we're going to build on it, okay? I'm missing that piece, okay? And the deal is, the problem is now it is seen as normal to allow these small parcels. So, what is it, Cook? Dave, what is the guy? Okay. Anyway, he was here last time or whatever, and one of the things he's going, over there on Vineyard and the Ocella property, that's what I call it, Double S Ranch, it was advertised 1 acre plots. Well, he then, that last meeting, described it as a 1/2 acre. And I'm like, where the crud did the 1/2 acre go? That's a problem. And then he's going, okay, so that means that I can make now, instead of 1/2 acre ones, I can put 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 houses per acre over in the Pruitt area, which is the Mill Creek area. Okay, so now they're seeing it as a general thing that they can just do and keep making these parcels smaller and smaller and smaller. This area, one of the things is that when you have at least 1 acre, you can have an animal. A large animal, okay? I used to ride my horse across this property. The reality is these poor new people moving in on 5 or 6 or 7 houses per acre can't even have an animal. They can't experience the lifestyle that a lot of us moved here or have lived here forever want. Okay, I'm assuming that there's people who love, again, those corridors where you can actually get out and see the wildlife, et cetera, and we're allowing that to be taken over, okay, and it's being seen as normal. Okay, this idea of gated communities, okay, it actually is a clear violation of 1.8.9, so check that one out, okay? And one of the problems is when, you guys were just talking about this idea of, hey, they're hiding the sign. Well, one of the things is some of these developments got pushed through during COVID. Well, who the crud is going to show up at these meetings during COVID? And thank you, bless you, for making it now so they can actually be recorded, okay? But no, who's going to show up during COVID? What the crud, okay? And then we're going to pass a bunch of things that are going to allow suddenly, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800 houses in an area. Those should all be put on hold and say, wait a minute, we've got to go back and talk to the community and allow the community to have some input on this. And let's go back to those large parcels. Hey, you know what, the developer or whatever from the ranch said he couldn't make any money if he had to use 1 acre parcels. Well, I'm sorry, then get out of the bloody business, okay? Because the reality is that is a pristine agricultural land that provides for our community. But in addition, they can make money. They don't have to put 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 houses per acre, and especially down along the creek, okay? Because that's the worst thing, because there's animals and everything that are there. So we really need to take a look at this and stop. Go back to the big picture and see what the impact is on our traffic and all of the things or whatever that are happening. By allowing the amount of development, we are totally being overrun, and the community is being ruined. I probably am beyond my 3 minutes, but okay. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marcy Mossaware, and I have a question. There was some rumor going around that on Vineyard and Cucriolo that is going to be a traffic circle when that new development goes in. Does anybody know if that's actually the plan?
Initially, when the problem was brought to the developer on that, in the discussion, it was suggested, and she shouldn't be charged for this time. It was, because I've got to say it correctly to you, is that it was suggested to us that possibly if there was a problem that they would put in a roundabout at that location, which didn't necessarily make me feel any better about the traffic.
Yeah.
That's what transposed at the Creek View, and there was quite a discussion about the fact that the fire department was taken away at that location as well. But
sorry, Landon Wolf, Placer County Supervisor, Bonnie Gore's office. The current project as proposed at the ranch along Vineyard Road, I do not believe has any change to Cucriolo at Vineyard. However, the entryway and exit to the project itself on that road, Vineyard Road, would have roundabouts in their proposal to go into their.
But that's within their development.
No, it would be on Vineyard Road. Yeah,
on Vineyard.
On Vineyard Road, but not the intersection, but on Vineyard Road. They're up there. That is part of their proposal.
Okay.
So.
And one other just quick thing. I know it's been mentioned, but I think the infrastructure, particularly our emergency services, even though we're getting an extra person, which I think is great, but for all these people, 24/7, we have 3 firemen, and it's unbelievable to me that we think that they can cover all of the people that already live here, plus all these new homes that are going in. It's really frightening that we don't have emergency services and that the county is not making any effort to bring that up to the capacity when they approve all these new homes, that they don't look at that and say, we should have something that is more effective for 24/7 service, emergency services for our community.
Thank you, Marcia.
Bob Rates, and I just have a question. It's in regards to all these projects, and we just received the draft EIR for the ranch project across from our house. Now, does anyone take all of these EIRs and overlay them and see the magnitude of the transportation increases and all the other uses of services and everything? I mean, each one taken individually is big. But when you put all of them on top of each other, 1,000 new cars across the creek there at PFE and Antelope, and then you're putting in 450, 480, whatever, across the road there on the ranch and everything, well then, those are houses, and two cars to a house? So, I mean, does anybody take that into consideration? It goes with Rick's thoughts on Kirby getting over to the freeway. I mean, there's what, 5, 6 projects? Now you've got another one down at the end of Vineyard that may be coming up. Where's everybody gonna go? Does anybody overlay all the EIRs instead of taking them one at a time? Anyway, if someone could tell me about that, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Benjamin Bailey. I'm over here in Willow Creek, okay? And I moved here 15 years ago, retired from the Air Force, and thank you. Part of my career, though, I did planning for emergency type services and communications, though, mainly, right? But I work with a lot of emergency organizations, even here with OES or EOS, okay? But it's just like I'm echoing a lot of what everybody's saying here. The infrastructure of the area is well behind what we're putting out, right? So we're growing it at a pace that's faster than we can support. And in 15 years, I now have to wait to come out of my development because of the amount of traffic that's on PFE now. And from Cook Riolo to the gate at Willow Creek, there's cars lined up there, all the way back to that entrance, which is crazy because we don't have near the houses that we're talking about planning here. And how do these people get out of this area? You know, so they go back up to Baseline, or they go Cook Riolo, or they go down Antelope, North Antelope, or they go PFE. But these are all like single lane roads. And yeah, we're saying something about having like 2 cars per new home average. But the truth is, most of the time it's going to be at least 3 cars, because you're going to have either the husband and wife, an adolescent, a parent, you know, child that came back from school. You know, I've had that several times, so I know what that's like. Okay, so having 4 or 5 cars just because things didn't work out for them and they need a soft landing. This plan is, I'll say it nicely, ambitious, right? And the reason why I even settled here was because of the way this area looks. I walked this trail, not here lately because it's been so hot, but I walk this trail almost every day, right? I go down to the water, I watch that, I watch this whole thing grow, and it's not taking into consideration the people who moved here for the reasons that they moved here. And yeah, we're going to turn into some kind of suburban area that's high density, metropolitan, and our whole lifestyle is going to be ruined. And that's not fair, right? Somehow we got to look at this and come together on what this needs to be, right? Because you have vast areas away from here that you could put some of this stuff, that it doesn't have to be stuffed into this small 5-mile area. It's crazy.
Do you live in the community that wanted to put the gate in? Yes. And you were opposed to that? Yes. I remember that, and that was one of the reasons why you moved there, because you didn't want a gate.
Exactly.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Jessica Haynes. So I write down my thoughts so that I can. So in the course of all the rezoning madness over the past 6 months, I have heard some interesting things said. I have heard that our Dry Creek Community Plan doesn't have any real teeth, and that it is aspirational at best. And even if this is true, I would like to point out that it does more to lay a framework for responsible growth as it pertains to the traffic in schools and the emergency response and everything people were talking about, than a frenzy of this high-density construction, and should not be so blatantly disregarded. Certainly our leaders, Pawnee, you can't believe that a flurry of EIRs and buckets of cash sold as mitigation measures for these high-density developments are suitable alternatives to measured, thoughtful planning for growth. We need to take a pause and zoom out a bit in Dry Creek to really understand how all this development all at once is going to change the fabric of our community and limit the lifestyle choices for residents of Placer County. While each high-density spot rezone on its own might not seem to make much of an impact, surely the cumulative impact, like Rick was talking about, of everything being proposed right now would have devastating consequences for our area. And once Dry Creek becomes just another sea of rooftops, there's no going back at all. I hope somehow the desires of this community reach the ears of our planning department at county. It's not lost on anyone here that while we have 3 minutes here and 3 minutes there to speak about these matters that really impact our lives, the developers have constant close working relationships with the planners that we pay for. I think that the fact that so many of these projects have blindsided almost all of us, something has gone terribly wrong with the way that we do things. Because of all the things I have heard said, probably the worst is the amazing solid families, Dry Creek families that I've spoken with that are seriously contemplating leaving our community, like really good quality people who are just like, I'm out of here, I'm not gonna live here, this is not what we are here for. This is not what we've built our life here for. As a direct result of all the rezoning madness, and it really needs to stop. I do have some suggestions for future MAC meetings, Landon or whoever. Maybe it would be nice if there was like an ongoing update of the construction projects going on at every MAC or every other MAC, because I think people genuinely don't know what's happening at all, despite everyone's best efforts to get the word out. I think that would be something that would be really helpful. Maybe county council could come in for a Q&A, like to answer questions like, why does it seem like developers are automatically granted zoning change requests despite huge community opposition? Or like, why are we treating the rural, or why are we treating the infill of our rural unincorporated areas with livestock as if they are new builds in huge fields void of any current community? So those are just some suggestions for MAC meetings, and thank you.
Hello, I'm Ryan Haynes. In case you guys aren't on the Facebook page, Stop the Rezone Madness, there's still a lot of people there. We're 1,000 people, but I wish I would have taken my information and had a handout like Laura. I don't, and so I'm going to give you guys some statistics on what is going on. So since 2020, when Brady Vineyards filed for their development there's, including Brady Vineyards, there's 9 new developments in this little box. We kind of call this one little box, us who live over here on this side of Walerga, the Dry Creek community. I realize that Walt lives on the far end of it. In between us, our little box from Walerga to Foothills and PFE to Baseline and the little environment around there. Placer Vineyard's specific plan is between us and the end of the county line. That's how where Walt lives. And so Placer Vineyard's specific plan is a specific plan, which means they made specific plans for huge growth. 14,132 homes are slated to go into Placer Vineyard's specific plan. So that's all west of Walerga. So in our little box, of the 9 new developments since 2020, starting with Brady Vineyards, 5 of those, the paint is dry, and we can't argue anything else about those. The 5 that are pretty much done and spoken for are Brady Vineyards, the Double S Ranch, which is under construction, which I think makes a lot of us sad seeing that dirt moving around. Whispering Creek, which is right across the street from Creekview Ranch School. Cabral Ranch, which is the 1-acre homes that are being built behind the gate right there on Coocriolo. And then Creekview Ranch, the paint is dry on that one, which we should have got to earlier. I'm sorry we weren't here then. We would have fought harder. Creekview Ranch is the one on PFE. It's going to be 597 homes on 141 acres. And so the average there is going to be roughly 0.2 acre lots, so 1 home for every 0.2 acres, so at least 5 homes per acre. So we all realize that's a problem. So a group of us went and talked to the folks who are building the ranch, and if you guys want to know what we can do from here on out with these last few projects, the ranch, Mill Creek, and Estia, here's what I've observed, kind of a community bulletin here for everyone sitting here tonight. But the ranch came in with 600 homes as their proposal. They wanted to put 600 homes on their 220 acres. So Eva Lane and the MAC fought back against that. Thank you guys for doing that. Out of several revisions, the plan got reduced down from 600 down to 446 homes. So whatever's presented on the sign is not what has to happen. We can push back. And so, and thankfully those developers are open to that pushback. It seems like developers are shooting high for as much as they think they can get away with, and then they're going to settle for a much lower number. So when it comes to Mill Creek, they've got 322 single-family homes on 65 acres. That's another one of those 5 to 6 homes per acre. In Estia, 432 homes on 88 acres. That's at 0.2, 1 home for every 0.2 acres. There's plenty of room for us to push back on those folks when they come here. So we need to show up, push back, and that's what we need to do. I'll see you on the Stop the Rezone Madness page.
Hi, I'm Jen Leslie. I live at 2816 Glacier Lane. I back up to Creekview Ranch. They're out there starting to dig now. You know, it just makes me sick. I think the time to do something about this was probably 5 years ago or something to slow this down. It just makes me sick. I watched them out there last week. These are 300, 350-year-old oak trees. I know because we have some on that property back there, and they showed up with excavators and grabbed the limbs of the trees and shredded those things and ripped the roots out of the ground in 10 minutes flat. And that's what you're going to see in these other developments out here too. It just made us sick. This is beautiful property, meadows, animals live there. You know, it's rural. The rural feeling of this area is just lost. I don't think there's anything we can do to stop it at this point. They name the damn developments after what they're taking away, right? The ranch, you know, Winton Ranch, Creekview, well, that's going to be gone. So I'm pissed, but you know what? It's like I feel like, you know, I don't know if we didn't have our eyes on the ball 5 years ago, but I feel like our county has let us down in this whole thing, you know, and our way of life is going to go away. So when you guys watch those trees getting ripped out of, you know, those parcels, it's just sickening. It's just sickening.
Can you hear me? This is too tall for me. Hi, my name is Terry Bertzloff. And last month, Dave Cook said when our community plan was made, it was a snapshot in time. He said it does not accurately reflect the housing needs today. So what are our housing needs as they actually pertain to the West Roseville area and Dry Creek? Do we have specific statistics? Are we just pulling numbers out of the air, telling developers that we need more housing, so stick as much as you can wherever you can? That's what it seems like. So yes, in some areas of California, we do need more housing, but why is our community being targeted when it doesn't really appear that we need more housing in the Dry Creek area? And why is the county letting developers build these high-density projects? We have so much developed development planned all down Baseline through the Placer Vineyards and Sunset developments. Why do we need such high-density housing in the rural Dry Creek area? People say they want to live here because they work here but can't afford it. But I worked downtown for 40 years. I didn't live downtown. A 45-minute commute back and forth every day for a long time. So that's not really an excuse. We didn't grow up in the Dry Creek area and haven't lived here 10 or 20 years like a lot of you guys have. But we always wanted rural property, but we couldn't afford what we wanted. So we bought other properties over the years and kind of built up to where we could buy what we wanted. But now it seems like, the government shouldn't actively be ruining what we've all worked for just to give others a sardine can to live on, these tiny little lots that they're approving. So that's my question. Why are we approving such high density of development? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Patty Hayden, Haydon. I live at the top of Cocriolo, and I was listening about these trees being pulled out, the great big old trees, and I wonder if the bald eagle that landed in my yard that I have a video of a couple months ago lived in those trees. Where does that eagle live? And the eagles have been seen around this area, the bald eagles. This is bald eagle territory here, and I don't think they realize that. And it upsets me that they're, I don't know if they're doing any kind of an environmental impact thing for the birds and the animals in this area, but it needs to be looked at. It really does. Because that bald eagle's not coming from other areas. We've got the trees, we have the river, we have the habitat that eagle wants. So maybe we should take a look at that. Thank you.
Any more public comments? We do have some comments from the MAC, so we'll go ahead and start with Patrick. Don't have to state your name yet.
It's sobering. It really is. And I just found out about the one with the sign that's a long ways away. And my immediate question is, what is it zoned for? And if it's zoned for, 400 units, well, then we're late. But if it's not, then maybe we're not late. And I can't imagine that was 400 units in that 80 acres. So, like I said, sobering.
Hi, I'm Deb McSherry, 20 years in this area, and I moved here specifically for this area, although I was drooling over the golf course that was being built. So I was one of the people that kind of broke the acreage rule. Not personally, but I can see it now. I have been doing a lot of studying, really, as a MAC member and a member of the community, trying to figure out how we can allow all this building to hit us all at once without any consideration for streets, sewers, schools, fire, any of that taken into consideration. It's just boom, 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 boom. So I have been in contact with Bonnie Gore's office. I have just poor Landon, I have picked his brain silly regarding the general plan, regarding the general plan of our own, our Dry Creek general plan within that general plan, and regarding the housing element, which is huge within that. And yes, state of California could not be more beautiful. Placer County could not be more beautiful. However, the state of California has made some unbelievable demands on everybody, all the counties in the whole state for housing. And So I thought, well, okay, I understand all that, and I read this, I'm telling you, these are all A, B this, blah, blah this, all the way, boom, 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 all for the developer, all for more housing, all for higher density, low income. I mean, there are some really good, impactful things in there. And communities like Dry Creek are being overlooked because of our uniqueness. We can't discriminate against this. So it's a really slippery slope. And I know Bonnie has really been looking at trying to find something. I thought, well, maybe a moratorium, just for a while till we can get a grip on this. A moratorium on approving any more projects until we can figure out the infrastructure. So now I start working with other people in the county trying to figure out a moratorium. I'm telling you, everywhere but in California, there are moratoriums, but in California, we really don't have any choices unless it's environmental, habitat, endangered species, indigenous people, safety. So we might have some environmental stuff in there. We definitely have safety stuff in there. Don't know, if we can get anywhere with a moratorium because the only places that have done it is on the ocean or Lake Tahoe. So very unlikely. But can we slow this process down so we can get a grip on what's coming into our community? And the fact that we are allowing and have allowed in the specific plan so much building, you're right. Why is this little area still being targeted when the growth going down Riego is tremendous and will accommodate all those people? And those builders now will do more affordable housing and multi-units, and that's okay. That's what was planned there. So as a MAC member and a member of this community, we are really not sitting on our hands. We are really trying to find inroads to help you and to help us. So if anyone, if you just look at the amount of bills that have been passed in the last 20 years, it's not just overnight. In 20 years, California has kept passing more and more legislation on building, all in favor of the developer. We have to find some really tricky way, some really slippery way to get in there and stop our area from being inundated without taking into consideration the infrastructure and the impact on this little square mile of land. Anyways, I really didn't think we were going to talk tonight because I thought it would be more informational, so I didn't have all my ducks in a row, but I just want you to know that I consider you all my friends, my family, and we're trying to do our best for you.
I have a question with this STF project also. I mean, this sign was 300 feet from the roadway. I mean, I don't know, unless you walk by, you would never see it. So if we're trying to be transparent and bring this to the general public and the population around here in the community, we shouldn't be putting signs 300 feet away from a blocked road. And there's actually blocked twice. So I think it was kind of ridiculous. I took a picture of it, you wouldn't even know what it was out in the roadway. It was just in this field, some white sign. So I think we need to take a look at how we're doing that. If that's the planning department, then that needs to change. I think we also probably need to maybe have the planning department come out and give us, updates as to what's going on every month, every meeting. I don't know who approves the rezoning, but I pulled up the Estria Dry Creek, and they want to change it from the residential agricultural 1 acre lots to high density and medium density, and they want to put 220 high density units, 217 medium density, and they want to do basically a 50-50 split of 2-story to 1-story homes. That's not acceptable. That has nothing to do with what our community plan is. Why do we have a community plan if we're not going to follow it? That's really what it comes down to. Why is it that the planning department is approving these variances to these developers to allow that to happen. Somebody needs to tell them, or whoever's in charge, I'm not sure who makes that final determination, that that's just not acceptable. You don't have the right to do it. Just because there's not 100 people sitting in your meeting hall when you have your meeting because it's at 9 o'clock in the morning on a weekday, you got to sit there and say, hey, wait a second, we're supposed to be here for the community, not the developer. And that's not what's happening. Right now, the developer has carte blanche to do whatever the hell it is that they want to do, and we're just signing off on it, letting it happen because, oh, there's only 3 or 4 people here. Because there's a lot of people that unfortunately have to work. There's a lot of people that have other obligations. And I know that you guys have mandates as to when you have to have your meetings for the Board of Supervisors, and I'm sure the Planning Commission does too. But you're not doing the community any good. And that's why, you know, the Board of Supervisors are voted in to speak on behalf of the community. And that's not being done. We're doing whatever the hell it is we want. And again, I don't know if it's Planning Commission that's just saying, hey, there's nobody here to argue this, so let's go ahead and approve this. Because I've been at some of those Planning Commission meetings as well as the Board of Supervisors. And it's amazing that once the public comment is done, all the suits get up and leave. You know, it's like, what the hell's going on here? They're just sitting there waiting for somebody to argue about their proposal. If nobody argues about it, they know it's going to be approved, so they just walk away. They don't need to do anything anymore. So that really needs to stop. We need to figure out a better way to get the community involved, to understand what's going on. And we talked about it last meeting, to have a productive meeting and to have a meeting that people wanted to go to. And I think bringing the Planning Commission in, or whoever makes those decisions, to give us that monthly update, because they mentioned it last month that we had our meeting. People want a monthly update of what's going on in our community with construction, every phase of it. We don't want to find out, you know, like this sign that went up on June 27th, a couple days after our MAC meeting. Why didn't we know about that ahead of time? We didn't just decide on June 26th that we're throwing a sign up there. We knew ahead of time that was going to happen. How come we're not aware of that? We need to know that. We can't argue it. We can't defend it. We can't protest if that's what people want to do unless we know. And going on the website is great, but not everybody is going to go on the website every single day. And when they do, they're going to get a different opinion of what that website says versus if we all come in as a group and we get the actual answers to our questions and have that one definitive answer that we can argue. I'm very passionate. I'm very passionate about this, and the developer of the application for this Estia is Town Homes. It's Chris Dickinson. He's a VP of Town Homes, so, and he did Whispering Creek and Morgan, what's the other, not Morgan Creek, but Morgan Ranch. So, and they're just in it to make a buck, and you know, and that's great, but there is a lot of other areas to make that buck. Our community plan specifically wants us to look at the community, look at what it's doing to the community and what is the impact of the community. And like I said last time, I mean, we got 4,000 estimated homes in this area, Dry Creek community. We're now adding 2,000 more. That's 50% increase. So where are those cars going to go? We already know, we talked about last month, that Antelope North is a cut through, you know, PFE. You back up PFE all the way back to the stop sign going into Morgan Ranch and stuff. You know, you go in at, you know, 7:45 to 8:30, getting into the school is near impossible. And like I mentioned last time, my granddaughter can't get enrolled in the school because they're already booked. So what are we going to do when you have, you know, 2,000 more homes? Most likely you're going to have at least 2,000 more kids going to that school. You know, and I watched them today as I pull out of my lane. They're cutting down trees along the fence of Creekview Ranch School, just chopping them down and throwing them through the shredder. And I was like, you know, why do you have to get rid of trees that are already there? I just don't get it. And we are losing that. So I'll get off my soapbox. Thank you.
You're not on a soapbox. This is definitely a community, an existing community problem. And we need to get the existing community aware of these problems. We have sat here and listened to the county come and tell us about the ongoing projects that are coming. I have not felt that we have been viewed in a favorable light. This is an existing community. I remember one time coming to one of the MACs 8 years ago, or so, and there was a herd of deer sitting on one of the mounds out in the open. And what a beautiful sight that was, and that was one of those meetings where one of these projects was presented. I'm grateful for your contribution to this. I have been, since the late 90s, involved with the development of the Dry Creek area. I'm not profiting from that. I'm a member of the community. When you look at the hazards that are being created for your children, for your livestock, and for your family, because of the density that they're talking about putting here, regardless of what the new laws are and the bylaws and the legality of it, the county staff does not care about this community. They care about the community they live in, but they do not care about this community. We need to have the transportation supervisor come down and tell us what this grand plan is going to be. Of maybe if we need it, we're going to put in a roundabout, and I apologize, I was thinking at PFE and Cocriolo. But it's all the same. That's the answer that we've received. When the Creekview Ranch went in and took from our community plan, the fire department that was planned for that location, I brought that to the attention of the county representative that came, and I was told that we didn't need it. And I said, who decided that? And I was told, well, we leave that up to the professionals to tell us that, and the fire department didn't need that. The next week, just the next month actually, the fire department showed up, and I asked him, who decides whether or not you need that fire department or not there? He said, oh, well, the county tells us. So what I'm saying to all of you is that it really doesn't matter. We don't matter in the scheme of things unless you come, unless you're vocal, and unless you contribute to the communication to the county. There was a wonderful municipal advisory committee here when I first started coming. They all resigned with the exclusion of one individual because they couldn't believe the county, and at that time it was a different District 1 supervisor, but that the district supervisors approved the project that they put through. It really, we have no, and that's why I said in the last meeting, I don't want to give up and say every other month or every odd month or every even month we're going to have a meeting. I don't want to give away what strength we have. We have no power, but we have an existing community and we need to protect it. When you look at the roadways, when a construction company comes in and they're not following the BMPs, which are best management practices, and they're tracking dirt onto the roadway, which is actually an environmental issue, that can shut down the project. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen in Roseville proper on the north side of Baseline. It doesn't happen on Vineyards where they're building the SS, although that's a decent project for this community. But still, nobody's following through with that. And having worked in that construction field with the Department of Transportation, we would have been fined for the things that happen around here. When there's debris on the roadway, when there's trash all over the place, that is not monitored. And you all need to, I'm not somebody that's going to tell you that you shouldn't develop your property. but there should be something taken into consideration for an existing community that has actually put those plans forward, as I brought up the position on the gate in your community. That's the reason why that gentleman moved there, was because it wasn't going to be a gated community. And all the neighbors, they did not like me after that meeting. But I couldn't, if that was the reasoning behind it. So this is an emotional thing for all of you. We are all in what they call a special planning area. You are in a special planning area. That's what they call this out where I live, where they are a minimum of 5 acres now, I think, unless you want to rezone, and then you can rezone, or you want to sell out, or whatever you want to do. But what I'm getting to is that if you want your special planning area, you need to fight for it. And not be angry about it, but not put up with this. You don't need to worry about it. We're going to take care of it. We've got it figured out. We're going to put in a roundabout. We don't need any more fire departments. What happens? I mean, I brought it up many times in this meeting, and I wanted to know how many rooftops before we mandatory have to have another fire department. You can't count on what's going to happen at the vineyards, Placer Vineyards, because whenever that gets built out 30, 40 years from now, but this is all going to happen now. So the soapbox is kind of one of those things. It's like I can't help myself. When I see, this morning I had to get up and go chase the coyotes out because they were bothering my dogs. You know, that's just, who in California can say that? Other than, I'm not feeding them, and I don't want them to live on my property, but who can say that there's a bald eagle environment? Who can say there's the greyhound, the barn owls? All of these, in the red fox, all of the things that we have. Now, we don't want gophers. There's some things we don't want, but we need to recognize that and not make it as easy as it is and not forget about it. Creekview Ranch, am I going too long, Landon? Creekview Ranch, I believe that's the name of it. They all just, it bothers me when I hear the names of what they want to give these 4 little villages that they're building that are, houses stacked on top of, has it has Indian grinding stones in the creek. They recognize that they don't want to bring it to your attention, and they're going to let them build there anyway. They're aware of it. Do what you can. I don't blame Bonnie. I don't blame Landon. I don't blame the community. But I do blame the developers because they don't care. It doesn't matter. And if they're going to hike 300 feet off the road and put up a sign that hopefully they're not going to get any pushback on, isn't there a requirement for the people that live within that distance receive some notification? So those are the sticking points. And I appreciate you all for coming and keep up the fight. What?
You have to speak in the microphone.
Say your name.
Jessica Haynes again. So in the order of operations, where does it go from here? Well, it's like when we have a community rallied against a certain cause, we come here, we get our babysitters, we take breaks from whatever, and we say things to you guys behind the microphones, and then what? And then what happens? Because like Rick was saying, it's not like we can just continually show up like we did for the RM30 to every single board meeting and planning commission meeting. It's just not sustainable for most people with jobs and lives that aren't paid to be there. So what does happen after we come here and talk to you and let you know? Then do you guys go and let somebody know, or like, do you go, what happens next? I think that's unclear.
Do you want to respond to that?
You know what, how about we do this?
Okay.
It is actually time for Landon to give an update on different things that we're doing in District 1, which will answer a lot.
No, I don't think so, Bonnie. What I'm going to say right now is this. What you need to do is you need to get a hold of the county, and you need to tell them your concerns. You need to have a spokesperson go to, well, not just you, Bonnie, not just Bonnie Gore. You need to get a hold of the county staff. You need to talk to this county staff. You need to talk to the developer. You need to get yourselves organized. And that's what worked with the Vineyards project. What you need to...
What does the MAC do?
The MAC is, basically, we have no power. But when we come here and there's pushback on a development, there are certain things that happen, like the ranch project and those kinds of things. There are certain things where they'll say, okay, we're going to give you half-acre parcels in the front of that and not put two...
But it's still not where it needs to be. Way too much.
Exactly. But the impact on the existing community is, and where does it go from here? Then you go to the Planning Commission. Then you go to the Board of Supervisors. And, you know, I was really happy with two people who voted against the rezoning, that they voted against that moving forward. Supervisor Jones and Supervisor Landon, I believe, voted against the rezoning that was actually woke up a lot of people in this community. So we will move on, but you need to get your contacts, you need to find the people to talk to, you need to go to the transportation, you need to talk to the sheriff's department, you need to talk to the community and get them organized.
No problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been here, I think 14 years, but I've seen a lot of changes, and I'm also an engineer that works on development stuff. So I'm down the road, but I'm not in the planning part of it and all that other stuff. But I've also been involved where a small parcel had a black walnut tree in the corner. City of Sacramento says, you're not touching that tree. We don't give a damn about your play field. So they had a soccer field that had a tree that was about half of this room for I don't know how many years before they finally went through the process. But again, there's oak tree ordinances in other agencies that you've got to replace all that stuff in, you know, diameter inches, or you just can't touch certain ones. I mean, if you look at Morgan Creek, I think they did to me, a good job of trying to save the oak trees. And apparently that's sort of fallen by the wayside. I think another one would be to call the planning commissioner and says, why is it in the general plan EIR, it says 1 acre and it's now 0.2? How did it get there? How do you justify that? And if, you know, 10 people call them, maybe they'll start thinking about it a little bit. But the other part of this is that the developers that are here see success, and they are a predator breed, and they will go like crazy. And if you'll remember 2007, things were going crazy everywhere, and in 3 months, it was gone. There was bankruptcies and all the other thing, and things moved on. But they will go as hard as they can and do what they can as fast as they can. And right now, they see kind of a clear path.
Yeah, it's like they say like, oh, this one went in, so that sets the, oh, sorry, again.
Right. Well, yeah, and I can tell you what, I've been in a lot of meetings where, as an engineer, you want a variance of something, and the idea is that if they got to do it, then I get to do it. And that's the problem.
It seems kind of backwards though, because
I'm really sorry. We do have folks headed out. I know some folks have to get to their children and stuff. If there's no other comments, we do have the District 1 update still we have to provide.
We'll go ahead and follow through with item number 8, the local government, District 1 countywide and District 1 updates.
Thank you. Well, just a quick thing. First of all, thank you all for being here. Appreciate you coming and sharing your opinions. Really, I really do appreciate it. So thank you very much. A couple of things. We are a number of issues. A lot of people say things and you really don't have all the facts, right? And so issues like fire and schools. We met with the superintendent. We're going to have the superintendent of Dry Creek Schools come out and speak. We're going to come and have CAL FIRE come out and speak so that people really do understand that there is a planning process for schools and there is a plan for fire services and we're not ignoring those. I want you to know that. I know that people feel like we're ignoring it, but it is not being ignored. I really want to assure you that it is not being ignored. Yes, so we will have it at an upcoming MAC meeting. And Landon and I, after our last MAC meeting, put together a list of items that we're going to bring before you so that you understand a lot more about the planning projects. For the Estia project, just so that you are aware, I don't know why the sign was put so far away. We will certainly find out about that. I just found out that the application for that project was submitted in May, and then staff gave comments, and they're in that process of going back and forth. And if the project moves forward and they have a completed application, they do not yet have a completed application. Maybe they do, but I don't know if they have a completed application, but they're in the process. If it moves forward, it'll have to go through an EIR. And actually, we were going to bring it, because we found out about it just the other week, that we're going to bring it before the MAC next month. Is that correct,
Correct.
Landon? Yeah, so that will be an informational item next month, so that you'll understand what the proposal is. And then I'll let you follow up on the other items that we have for the
Yes,
next couple of
so
months.
as of right now, August MAC, we're trying to give a better look forward, and that's been something you guys have requested in the past as well. So next month, August, will be Estia, the property that had the sign go up. Again, that is a brand new application that was just received to the county. So that's the beginning of the process. We are at it right now. So, and we just, sign went up within a month of the project being submitted to the county. So, so the original plan as well is to try to get how the process works. Jessica, to your point, what is the steps, what are the stages, what is the appropriate times for public to give their opinions, how does this work, essentially? And Bonnie and I agree it's really important we do a workshop on that so the residents know, the steps, how exactly all this goes, so you're better equipped to, know when to come, when to say your piece, how to say it, that kind of thing. So we're going to talk about Estia next month. We are going to put essentially a workshop on the agenda next month as well for that same process. I do not know if we will get to it. So it's a matter of getting through Estia, and if there's time enough at the end, we'll discuss that. The schools, the superintendent agreed to come to the September MAC. So the superintendent of the Dry Creek School will come and talk about how they do their development process at the September MAC. Again, we're talking to CAL FIRE. We don't know the schedule with them yet, but we are talking to them about them coming out. What is the fire perspective on development? And then October, I will probably see all of you back, at the Dry Creek School, because the ranch will be coming back in October. So, and that is their, by the way, that is their action item meeting too. So that is when you will vote on the ranch project from the MAC's perspective. So that's the project.
Wait, so the MAC will be voting in October?
Correct, yes.
They have informational coming up in August, right?
No,
August.
so the August meeting is the public comment period for the draft EIR.
And that's August 8th at
August
the Planning
8th.
Commission.
Yes. And
That
so
is
they don't
correct.
have timed items, so generally, if it's on the agenda at the planning commission, you arrive at 10 a.m., and then when they get to that item, they get to that item. So, so that's for the ranch draft EIR public comments. So, that is as far out as we have planned right now. November and December, we'll look at those and kind of see where we're at that point, especially if we haven't had that workshop yet. And I do know we have other things that the MAC needs to hear, trainings, updates to those kind of trainings and stuff in your role as the MAC, but again, a little further out.
So we can put in right now the written
Do you want
comment
to,
on
here,
ranch.
let me have you on the mic, Laura. Bonnie has it.
Who's got that mic? Big clogging the mic. Again, Laura Bullard. So on the ranch, can we make written comment at this point or whatever? 'Cause rather
Yes,
than
so
just
here's how with the EIR comments work for the county. Legally, you have 45 days to comment on a draft EIR, and that's traditionally written. Placer County, as a courtesy, does a consolidated verbal public comment during the planning commission process. So not every county, not every city does what the county does, what Placer County does. So August 8th is just only the verbal comment period, but if you're always more than welcome to submit written comments so they can be included in the draft EIR.
prior to August 8th.
Prior to actually August 26th.
Yeah,
I
August
thought,
26th is that.
The end of the comment period.
Yes, so they just try to find a planning commission meeting within that 45-day window to make that comment period.
All the comments are read and all the comments are responded to in writing.
I think that is all I have for you today.
Okay. Well, thank you for that report from the county. I didn't hear anything about the transportation. So we need to get the transportation on board with
Actually,
the concerns that we have in the existing community.
I am going to be meeting with Public Works and Cedra about the transportation issue before we bring it to the MAC. So that's on my agenda first. I have to get an update from them before I come to you all. Have them come to you.
We had Phil here telling us about the the change in the speed limit, and there were a couple of things he was going to get back to us about, and that was one of them was whether or not that was considered a sound wall or not out on baseline, and so that was one of the comments he said he would get back to us on when he
I'll ask
arranged
Phil.
the speed limit signs or the
sound
post-
wall on Walerga?
No, baseline. It's on baseline. There's a dirt berm, and then they told us initially that they weren't going to build, and that's actually on the unincorporated side of baseline. There's a dirt berm, and then there's a masonry fence on top of the berm. And my question is that considered a sound wall, or is that a privacy wall? What is it? Because they told us they weren't going to build those in that area back in the 90s and the early 2000s.
And is that the sun?
If you're going
Sun
west,
Ranch?
you'll see it on your south side.
Okay, and
Just
there's
past
there's
that
homes
open-
behind it? Okay. Okay, so not the, sorry, thank you, this is helpful, because it's not the community that's already there, the newer community you're talking about. Okay, got it. Okay,
I think Phil understood what my question was to him.
got it. I also wanted to point out Katie Kammerer here with us today. Katie is our district representative for District 1. She is the best person you can reach out to if you have any issues, trash on the road, anything like that, or if you're not getting a response from a department at the county. She's our caseworker in our office. She's just getting back from maternity leave, and we're throwing her right back in the fire. So be sure to get her card if you have any questions about individual one-off things for your home. As far as development and policy goes, that's still on me, and I will be the main person, so feel free to grab my card on the way out. Again, I'm Landon Wolf. I serve as Chief of Staff. And Stephanie Yeager here is also our MAC secretary and scheduler. So if you'd like to meet with Bonnie or any of us, well, no. If you want to meet with Katie or I, call us. If you want to meet with Bonnie, call Stephanie. So anyway, I think that's all I have for you, again.
You have anything?
If you're writing letters, oh, I don't need that anyways. If you're writing letters, write all the supervisors of Placer County, all of them. And definitely, letters are public record, and the more letters we can get in, and I know it's a hardship. I'm retired, and it's a hardship for me to show up at those meetings, but there'll be some that we should all try and get to. So I'm just saying, the more people, news, I mean, you know.
Yeah, I'd like to say support Walt's comment about Bonnie and Landon. I don't think they're the enemy. I think the staff is what does all the work, and if they are being biased towards development, they, you know, what these guys get, they get to vote on it, but they don't see a lot of the stuff in the beginning and how it gets to it. And again, perfect example would be the signs that are up there. That was through county staff. That's where we are right now. And I think calling up county planning commissioner and saying, what the hell are you doing putting a sign 300 feet from the road? Do you know that's illegal? Or is it legal? And if it is legal, then show me where it's legal. And start raising a little hell with staff.
They also, sorry, just gonna say, they also don't have the right proper phone number on there as well. It's missing a digit.
Perfect.
A digit is missing on their sign.
And I think,
So it's not
and the
illegal.
next thing would be
It's
then
not a legal
to go to
sign.
the planning commission meeting and point out that I called this person to find out why there's no phone number on there. Embarrass them in front of some of the people that are there, and you'll get some results.
Well, I also just want to say, like, there are times, I don't know what the sign looked like when it was put up. I'm not defending, I just want to let you all know. Grab my card. If you see anything like that, please tell us. You know, and that's the biggest thing is sometimes they don't know. I mean, if it went up and some kids got out there and were just screwing around, taking a number off, I don't know. I don't know the situation. Anyway, I would ask that at least give us a call, let us know. We'll try to get it fixed. If at that point it doesn't get fixed, okay, yeah, we have some problems, but at least give us a call first, yeah.
And I believe one of the questions would be, is it a legal sign if it isn't a legal phone number? So it may not be a legal posting, so.
I was there the day it went up, so I saw it without the phone number.
So the signs themselves, I'm not gonna, I don't know. I'm not gonna go there. We'll wait.
There's a picture of it.
Well, you have a picture of it.
It's right there.
No,
Here's a
No,
hard
thank you, yes, and we'll take the pictures, we'll get them back to our planning staff, and we'll get it fixed.
Okay, so thank you for that report from our local government. Moving on to item number 9, correspondence. So correspondence received for MAC between June 19th and 2024 and July 11th, 2024. In regard to that, I reached out about the agenda, and if it's on the agenda, the correspondence that we received, not necessarily all the document, but what the title of that correspondence should be on the correspondence. So it's able to be looked up as a public record of what we received. Although we are not going to discuss those things, then at least you can see what we received. So that was my understanding. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I
I'll
was
look into that.
told.
Is it kind of an index of a table of contents of what the
Yeah, the
correspondence
title
is?
of it,
Okay.
of what the correspondence is. Any comment on that?
No, I agree.
Okay. All right. You good? Okay, we appreciate your attendance tonight, your patience with this, Bonnie. I apologize for cutting you off there, but I think we need to sometimes get through some things as a community. And Landon, thank you for all you do. So at this time, we'll adjourn. Our next West Placer Mac meeting will be August 21st, 2024, the Dry Creek School District Office Community Room. Invite your neighbors. Adjourned. I missed her tonight.